I got so fired up and I did it really diligently. I was really every day continuing, doing something, taking care of my customers. And this steadiness is, of course, very important because many people can be enthusiastic and start, and then you don't see them anymore for 3 months. So you have to really keep going for a few years, really doing all those actions. And even in the beginning, you don't see the reward. Nowadays, people want to have fast results, but here you can really build something for the long run.
Happy Wednesday. My name is Andy Goddard, and I have a crazy belief that you and I were born to be free. And doTERRA just happens to be the best vehicle for creating freedom, all different levels of freedom, whether it's freedom from physical ailments, freedom from other people's agendas, time freedom, financial freedom. There's all different kinds and levels of freedom. And doTERRA just happens to be the very best partner and ally that Natalie and I found to create freedom. So we've been at this for 18 years now. We have been stretched beyond what we ever thought was possible. And we absolutely love the growth journey that comes with leaning in to doing doTERRA. And today we brought on a special guest. We love to share success stories of others who have created freedom at different levels. And Claudia Blumenthal has been one of our longtime friends. She's actually from Europe. I believe she lives in Belgium. And we've just bumped into her mostly at European events, European leadership, European convention, but we bumped into her at the US incentive trip this year. And so we thought it'd be fun to have her come on and share some of her journey. We would love to hear, first of all, just a little bit about yourself, where you're from, tell us about your family, etc.
Hi, Andy. Hello, everybody. Thanks for joining. So it's so good to see you all. Throughout my journey, I had been a big fan of the success calls, and they have largely contributed also to my mindset. So thank you for that. And I'm very honored now to be actually here today and be able to share my story. Yeah, it all comes around, I would say. What was your question? Because I just had an issue with the video.
Yeah, tell us a little bit more about just where you live, where you're from, your family.
Yeah, so I'm originally from Germany, but I don't live in Germany since after graduating high school. I went to France as an au pair girl. I was studying there. I was traveling around to India and living in different places. And 20 years ago, we moved to Belgium. And yeah, at the time, my daughter was 1 year old and I was still with her father. But unfortunately, he turned out homosexual and he left us. And I had to bring her up by myself. And later I met another man who passed away. So I had some challenges on the way. It was not an easy journey, but even more, doTERRA has really helped me immensely to take care of my daughter. And she has always been my biggest why. And I think it's thanks to this motivation also that I was able to find the strength to do the right things and take on this business. I started 12 years ago, 2014, when the European market was still pretty new, and I'm one of the pioneers here. And yeah, we didn't really have any clue what's going to happen. At the time, the highest rank in Europe was gold. And I just had my friend Madhavi who joined me, and we just were like really innocent and did many things. And out of our enthusiasm and love for the products and the company, somehow now I have one of the biggest teams in Europe, and it's really mind-blowing to see how it has come around. And yeah, so that's a little bit my backstory. And also I was studying in Paris. I have a master's in social and human sciences, so that has nothing to do really with the wellness or medical field. And I was actually, before doTERRA, working in an office part-time. My daughter was still young. I had a part-time job and it was really flexible actually. I could kind of arrange my hours and work around her schedule at the time. But just like 12 years ago, actually, I lost this job. There were some problems with the people there. And so I left, and for some time I was unemployed. And at that time, Actually, doTERRA came into my life on a conference of my spiritual community. There was an announcement from somebody in the US, like holistic business opportunity. And because I was already interested in holistic treatment for my daughter, I was interested, but I never thought that I could make a profession of this. I wanted to use natural remedies, but at that age, I was 38, I didn't want to study again, and I had to maintain myself. It was actually so nice that with doTERRA, I could combine my personal interests in natural health and without doing any further studies, actually generate an income, and at the time little income, and then really create a huge business. And it was a huge blessing for me that I came along this post there, and we had at the time a Skype call with those people, and I said, well, I'm using other supplements, and they were like, oh, these are the best, and I'm like, no, I'm using the best already, and I cannot sell something I'm not interested in. So I said, okay, I'm gonna take a kit and I will test it for 3 months, and then I will let you know if I like it. And for me at the time, so I got some money from the government. It was 300 euro. It was a huge amount compared to what I was earning at the time. But somehow I had some kind of feeling, I can trust them. I will just take a chance. And my daughter had some respiratory issues over the years. And I was like, okay, I was looking in the book and using On Guard and Breathe. And after a few days, her well-being changed so much that after 2 weeks, I called my upline. I said, I'm in. I went on LRP, and I have never looked back. And I'm so happy. It was really the best decision I could have ever done. And like you said in the beginning, it has provided me all the freedom to be there for her also, because at the time when I was getting money from the government, they were like looking for a job, and they said, oh, you can go to the big city and come back. And I was calculating in my mind, oh, I have to be away 10 hours, but I want to be home. And so I was like, never, I'm going to do that. And I was working really hard to reach the threshold that I could get out of the system, which was not so much, maybe 3,000. But at the time, for me, this represented so much. When I had this 3,000, I was gold, and then I installed myself as independent. I was like, wow, I'm financially free. I mean, it meant so much to me at the time. And I was just so happy that I could just continue being there for my daughter and just arrange my schedule around her needs, which I have done until now. And of course, my income has grown exponentially since then. And it's just incredible to see what could come out of this enthusiasm that I had in the beginning.
Wow. All starting from a post that you saw. So take us through your next steps. So you saw the post, you reach out to this friend in America, you have a Skype call. Tell us your next steps.
Yeah, so actually, then I was like, okay, I have these 10 oils. At the time, the Home Essential didn't even have the diffuser. It had the past tense. So that was actually the first, because I didn't have a sample. The first roller I used was the past tense. And so I had these 10 oils, and I was like, okay, I will make an intro class at the time. That's really, there was nothing online. There was nothing in any European language. And the only thing was from some US leaders. And I found something, I forgot the name of this lady. She spoke at your one event but she's probably on your team. And I saw her like how to teach a class, something. And I kind of printed it, and I did a class with the 10 oils because my upline was in the US and didn't speak the local language. And so I did 2 presentations and nobody enrolled. So I could have said, well, I'm a German, I'm living in a French-speaking country, the culture is different, I'm in the countryside, this is from the US, and I presented, nobody enrolled. I could have given up. But somehow, I'm so happy I didn't, because we had this profound experience also with my daughter, that it really changed her quality of life with her sinuses and congestion. That even my daughter, she was like, oh, they're kids, they have a runny nose, they don't know about the oils. And she was so enthusiastic. And I was just starting to share with my friends and giving samples and doing different things. And also because there was not much in German, and at the time I was still getting money from the government, I was not really legally allowed to do a business. So what I did, actually, I started a website, because I learned also at the time how to build a website. So I made a website in German and I translated stuff. And because there was not much, people found me online. And it was quite amazing at the time. I mean, nowadays the German market is one of the biggest, and that's not possible anymore, unfortunately. But I got many leads online, people just finding me on the internet and getting in touch. And then I really used, I think, my relator strengths, that I was writing emails and very long, and people were like, wow, you answer immediately and you write this text. And so because sometimes at that time, I didn't even have a smartphone, there was no Instagram, and people were like, oh, it's not possible online, it's so impersonal. But I think I just really put my heart into it and answered immediately and took care of the people so that I could also create some people who went on LRP. But also I enrolled some of my old friends. And I think for me it was a lot that people had some trust in me. Like Madhavi, I knew her for many years and I gave her a sample. But she didn't even want to do the business either at the beginning. She just had some throat problems and then it came over time. And I have half of my qualifiers are people that I knew before, and then the other half are people that found me online. And that was, of course, really exciting for me that people found me like this. But unfortunately, it didn't last. I mean, if that would have lasted, I would be probably double presidential. But yeah, unfortunately, and also my team, of course, I have such a huge German team. There are people who are much more capable now also with Instagram and doing crazy things. But I just took a leap of faith. Also, I started on YouTube and I did some videos and I had no clue. This was just before compliance and I was just sharing. And then even at my first convention, when I was elite, people said, oh, I know you. And I'm like, what? And they saw my stuff on YouTube because there were not so many people at the time. So that gave me a little bit a head start. And it was a little bit difficult then to duplicate that, because then I had people and they wouldn't be able. So I also, when there was the Diamond Club then coming around, I really went into the trenches and I went to Germany, because in the beginning Diamond Club was really for those who have teams further away. And I went to Munich and we did so many presentations. And actually for me, it's not so easy. I'm rather introverted. I'm one-on-one. And then Madhavi was like, oh, my mentor, Claudia, she was like kind of praising me to get many people. And I'm like, oh my God, she's like praising me. And then we just did it and we did so many presentations and it was quite out of my comfort zone. But I think that is really giving big rewards to do things that are uncomfortable. And I just went full in and I gave it all. And we had really good results and many enrollments also with the Diamond Club. Yeah.
Amazing. What an incredible journey. So somebody's asking in the comments, what did your friend post?
Anyway, that was just like a website where they had like a conference system, like a Yahoo, but not Yahoo forums, what they had back in the day. And they had different categories for this in my spiritual community, and there was one, it was like miscellaneous announcement, and he just wrote like holistic business opportunity, and he wrote something, whatever, I don't remember exactly. We are looking for some like-minded people who would like to do a business. And I mean, even he thought, they were like, yeah, if that's gonna work. And even when I contacted them, actually, my father passed away just right after that. And I told them, well, my father passed away, I get back to you sometime. And they could have thought, yeah, we never hear from her. But somehow, after 2 months, I got back to them. And of course, for them, this has been incredible that they found me and how things have developed. And so I wanted to say also, like you asked me what I did in the beginning. So actually, in my first year, I didn't enroll so many people. I enrolled one of my best friends from the past who moved to Canada, who I thought she's a doula, would do it with me, but until today she is just not even a client anymore. And my second enrollment was Madhavi. And then I enrolled a few people like this, and then after the website started a little bit get the traction. But it's not even that in the beginning I didn't really know what I was doing, but I was just sharing samples and starting like everybody should start, and with enthusiasm share it with the people that they know. And I didn't have so much success. And then once my upline, they are from Poland originally, but they live in the States in 30 years. So they came to Europe. And then they came once here and they were helping me a little bit. In Brussels, we did some English presentation and they were showing me, and it really gave me some confidence because she was enrolling people with the natural solutions and was making like a 3 months setup already. And I was like quite impressed how she's doing that. So it helped me. But otherwise, I was more or less on my own because I was doing stuff in German and in French, and she didn't speak those languages. I think an advantage sometimes of being a pioneer is that you really have to do everything yourself and be very self-motivated. And sometimes if you have in a team where everything is already there, you might not, develop in the same way. So you have to really be proactive to step up and do certain things to grow.
Wow. So talk to us a little bit more about that phase of your journey where you're working for the first year or so and not having much success. What was it that motivated you to stay in the game, to keep your head down and just keep believing?
Yeah. I mean, like I said, my daughter was my why. And we didn't have like so much to compare to. I think now when people join and they see already at the convention or the president, then the gap is much higher. Like I said, at the time it was goals, and I didn't know anybody. I didn't go to my first convention until 2 years after, and I didn't know anybody else, and I didn't really know what was possible. So I couldn't get really discouraged in comparing myself to some top leaders. And like I said, I was just such a fan of the products and sharing with my heart. And I enjoyed it so much. It was just fun. And I don't remember really, but I knew that I didn't want to work some stupid job and go 1 hour, like one there, one back. And so I was just continuing really steadily. But it's important, of course, to really continue. At the time also, because we didn't have many events and any top leaders, I had to look for inspiration. So I was looking for things in personal development. I was listening to Bob Proctor, who taught about the subconscious mind. This was really my introduction to visualization. And I started visualizing that I will be walking as a diamond a little bit later, probably, when I knew about that. And then I came around Jim Rohn, who also has some audios where he was giving speeches to some network marketing companies in the 90s. And it really hit so deep when he was talking about the good points of network marketing. It was just like, and then I found Eric Worre. At the time, he was not known yet. And he had these little YouTube videos and he was explaining network marketing. And so that gave me a lot of faith in the business model, because I had no clue before I joined. I didn't know what it is. And I didn't even know. I was just getting the product, and then, you get some other people, and never heard anything bad about it. And that was maybe also an advantage. I didn't have any bad emotions around that. And then Eric Worre, he always said, now network marketing is not perfect, but it's such a good way for the average person to become an entrepreneur. And that really intrigued me. And then also he said, now let's go out and tell the world that we have a better way. And I was like, wow, let's go. And that we have a better way. And I was just enthusiastic and somehow trying to share it. And so I think that's really a good ingredient, that we have to be so enthusiastic and share from the heart, and that we want to give it to other people and improve their lives as well.
Wow. That's such great wisdom. Learning from experts who have gone the way, right? And being humble
I'm so
enough.
grateful for them. And then, of course, later seeing people at conventions speaking. 16, then I went to my first convention in Prague. There were like a few hundred people. And I brought Madhavi with me she was even a client. And then she's like, why you never told me there's something like Diamond? And I'm like, you're like a client. And then you see the people and you get inspired and you hear. And of course, you also have been such a mentor to me, and listening to the success calls on and on, hearing the wisdom again and again. So I have been just listening in the beginning. I was just listening to these audio tapes. I know the Jim Rohn tapes by heart. I mean, it's just like so much wisdom. He was giving such great analogies, where I also realized you have to continue and you have to have faith. So he was saying, if you share a good idea long enough, it will eventually fall on good people. And this, I mean, this is like engraved in my heart. Like, it will eventually fall on good people. And I was like, there must be more people who want this. And so you have to continue, even if many people say no. And he was giving this analogy of a farmer who will sow the seeds, and some fall on the side, and then there is some thorns, and something is dry, but some will sprout, but you have to find them. So you have 1,000 seed corns, and not everything will sprout, and so you need a lot of people, so you found those who are really those who can go the way with you. And so I just absorbed all this wisdom from Eric Worre and Jim Rohn, and it gave me so much trust. And I was sitting here, I live in the countryside, on my computer, and I was like, wow, I'm gonna share it. And it was quite naive actually, but yeah, it turned out really nice, and just with this naive enthusiasm to continue spread the good message.
Wow. I hope everyone is picking up on one of Claudia's greatest strengths, which I believe is positivity. So much of the world today is just so quick to judge and so negative. And I just love that you just live your life with eyes wide open to the good, to what's worth celebrating. So thank you so much for the great tips. Bob Proctor, Jim Rohn, Eric Worre. Are there specific books or videos or audios that they've done that you would recommend starting with for those who are interested?
Well, if somebody has still some doubts about network marketing, Eric Worre has like a little documentary which is called Rise of the Entrepreneur. Also, there's a book from Robert Kiyosaki, The Enterprise of the 21st Century, where although Robert Kiyosaki is not doing network marketing, but he wrote a book about this. And my Belgian diamond leader, Caroline, she's recommending this to everybody, which is about entrepreneurship Robert Kiyosaki is a good name, so you can cite him and people know that, and really getting it down. I mean, for me, I saw one quote very much in the beginning, it was like an image with a wall where somebody is jumping through the wall, and there was written, if you could understand residual income, you would jump through a wall to get it. And I was like, wow, this is so fascinating. And somehow it intrigued me, and I didn't know what it meant. And of course, over time, then you see that the unit level is just like mind blowing. And I'm so happy that I was listening to these people and really on repeat every day. When my daughter went to school, I was sitting down, I put a video on from Eric Worre, 10 minutes, and then I got so fired up, and then I started my duties, and I did it really diligently also. I was really every day continuing, doing something, taking care of my customers. And this steadiness is, of course, very important, because many people can be enthusiastic and start, and then you don't see them anymore for 3 months. So you have to really keep going for a few years, really doing all those actions. And even in the beginning, you don't see the reward. But then at some point, wow, I was like, okay, 3,000, I'm financially free. But then how it's continuing, this is really, of course, nowadays people want to have fast results. But here you can really build something for the long run. And I was thinking with 38, wow, if I take a job and have to work until 65, oh my God. And I'm like, even if it takes me 10 years to get to diamond, I will be much better off and get more than any pension in any country. And so it didn't take me, it took me 4 years to get to diamond. And even if it would stop there, I would be better off than anything. So I say, even what continue 10 years, 15 years, you will be better off than anything else. And so it really motivated me to have this long-term vision.
Amazing. So powerful. The power of vision, right? When we can see things that don't currently exist and lean into them so much until they do exist. That's the power of creation. So I'd love to open it up to others' questions. If you want to raise your hand, we can bring you on live. I'd love for others to be able to voice what's coming up for you as you hear Claudia's story, as you see a snapshot of her incredible creation, especially as a single parent. I mean, there's so many challenges that go with that. Such a hard journey. So go ahead and raise your hand or just put it in the chat. It looks like Sandy's raising her hand. So if you want to rejoin as a panelist, Sandy, love to hear your questions for Claudia.
Absolutely. What are you doing today to continue to grow your business, Claudia? Are you doing social media, one-on-ones? What can you share?
Yes, I mean, yeah, that's a topic that I'm also thinking about. If you want to be sustainable and stay long term, you have to really find also the way. So, like I said in the beginning, I was doing the Diamond Club every time, and it was a little bit a stretch for me. And then when I was Diamond, and then also the German market was expanding, my website was not anymore the same gold mine as in the beginning. Fortunately, I have a really good team. I have a very solid team and many successful people in my team. And so I had some hardships to go throughout the years. And actually, when I was gold, my life partner passed away, and I had to go through this phase. And I stopped working for some time. And then I realized, of course, also the power of residual income, that we build something that can sustain us in the difficult times. And then afterwards, I had to also see how I can continue in a way that suits my needs, because I cannot push so much, although I did also then through that grieving phase the Diamond Club, but it was really hard. And so I had to see how to continue, and I had to a little bit also slow down at times. And yeah, I wish maybe I would have continued then to get to presidential, because now I'm Blue Diamond. But life came as it 3 years ago. I was really ill and I almost died, and I was bleeding, and it was really intense at times in my life. But again, the residual income was helping me out. So I'm so, of course, supporting the leaders I already have. And because I'm relator now, I maybe don't have such a big yield like if you have like an online channel where you have people finding you. But what I have seen, and that has created a lot of stability, those people I bring in because they trust me and I know them, usually then they stay. So maybe I don't have now so many enrollments, but I have better quality enrollments. And so what I have been doing the last few years is going to seminars and that interest me personally. I have done some retreats with Tony Robbins, and I went here to some kinesiology class, some real estate course, whatever it may be. And then I meet people who are like-minded, and then especially when I have a class that takes like a few months, then I see the same people, and then I can enroll them very easily because of that trust and my relator strength. And so I have not been successful anymore online. I mean, sometimes people find me still somewhere because I had something before, but I have to do more one-on-one.
One-on-ones, okay.
Yeah, and that is more my strength. But of course, it's now also my challenge a little bit to find more ways how to find more people. And so I've helped a lot also my teams to give presentations with them. We have done a lot online. Zoom opportunity calls were really something that really moved the needle for my Belgium Diamond leader. She asked me, if you would start again, if you would have your results in half of the time, what you would do. And I would say, look for business partners. Because at my time, that was not really the thing. But I just say, if you find builders, so we just did every week a business opportunity call, and then the people she brought the people, and we did all these business calls. And I think that's very well, like Matt Hall is doing as well. These opportunity calls, for me, it's really the best. But I've seen some teams have difficulty to invite so many people for the business calls. But if you manage that, I think to repeat every week business calls and do it again and again is nowadays my favorite way to enroll people.
Thank you so much.
Great question. Any other questions for Claudia? What's coming up for you as you hear her story? I'm loving the chats. Lots of people inspired by your story and loving your ability to tell your story.
Yeah, obviously every business opportunity call, then I'm like sharing my story. Of course, I'm using my story also to inspire people to go from nothing and to tell them where they could go. And that's really become also my passion, because this business has sustained me in the most difficult moments of my life. And when I realized I can take the time to grieve or to heal and still have the money, I was like, wow, this is so amazing. And so it really became my passion to share the opportunity with everybody. And I never had any issues that people say, oh, this is network marketing, this is strange, because I'm sharing it so naturally with the full passion. So therefore I say, if you have any issues, educate yourself and really dig in why it's so amazing. And you can use my example of, and I was always also, when I went to conventions and I listened to somebody, then I was telling, oh, I was just at this event and somebody was telling this story, and using these testimonials and spreading the word. It's so powerful.
So true. Wow. So amazing. And I know that I believe she's at least a diamond. Is she blue diamond?
Yeah, she's blue diamond and German founder.
Fantastic.
Yeah, I'm so proud. I didn't become a founder because I'm spread in different countries, but many of my German team, they are German founders. And I feel like I'm an honorary founder. And,
For sure.
and so I'm, of course, very proud I have so many diamonds and blues and presidentials. I mean, I have people who have outranked me, and it's like really amazing what has come from this little innocent beginning.
Amazing. So cool. Talk to us about some of the social benefits that you found in building a doTERRA team. I know that you have your own kind of religious community that's important to you, but talk to us about the new community you've built and been a part of in doTERRA.
I mean, I wouldn't even know. I mean, this is so priceless to know so many people in my team and also cross team. When I started the European founder, First Diamonds, they created an event. It's called Live a Cause. And it's like a cross-team event. And at the time, there was nothing going on. No. And so I saw and I was like, oh, this is a business training. And I went there, and it was this sweet event with training, but also team building, meditations, but it's cross-team. And I met so many amazing people, and we're still such close friends. And so I went to every Live a Cause, and then Jose from Portugal, he relaunched it, and now we have it in different languages. We will have our first French one this year in Belgium. And so I know so many people and the top leaders, cross team. Then, of course, my own team became really my family. I remember the first convention I took Madhavi, she went full in. So we were like, oh my God, events. Then next convention, we went 20 people, and we were all in one hotel, and it was such a nice time. And the next convention, and we are like all together. And of course now, I don't even know everybody anymore, but those connections, we are such deep friendships. And then my builders having people, and we are so close friends, and just thinking I would never have known them if that person would not have brought them, and how you expand your net, and people like you and everybody else, and even corporate. I mean, after so many years, they have become such dear friends. I wouldn't miss it in the world. I mean, it's the most amazing thing. And I'm just heading next week again to Portugal to support Jose for the boot camp. And it's so wonderful to go to convention and to see all these people. And it's brought a lot of value and joy to my life to meet so many wonderful people. And many people that are in my team that were maybe independent before, and they had maybe a praxis for massage or coaching. And even I was at the point when I was learning making websites, I was trying to little bit launch that at the time, and was just sitting alone with my computer. Of course, now I'm also with my computer, but I have still so many people that I can communicate with and that I can meet. And it's so different than being just a solo entrepreneur. And it gives so much joy to go to events together and see the people grow like children and being so proud of what they achieve. It's giving so much value to my life. Yeah.
Wow, such a gift. Any other benefits that you would speak to about why build a doTERRA business? You've talked about the financial freedom, the social, you've talked about the mental growth, all the learning.
Yeah, of course, the personal development is just, I didn't know anything. I would never think that I would be like a top leader, and now they invite me to speak at events and in front of thousands of people, and I would never have thought I would do something like this. And yeah, to really go through this process and now being there and inspire other people, yeah, I would never have thought I could do that. But I really was faithful in the beginning, and I was listening to these mentors every day and getting their knowledge and then putting it to action. And now I can share what I have done with other people. It's really the process of learning by doing and growing. And like you have these nice levels of growth with each rank that you really, in the beginning you have like a few people, and then over time how you have to change also your hats and take on different responsibilities. It's such a growth that it's hard to find anywhere else, I would say.
That's so true. Awesome. Well, what are the questions do you guys have for Claudia? I, for one, am so inspired by her outlook, her determination, your openness. I love the fact that you listen to these crazy people like Jim Rohn and Bob Proctor and Eric Worre. My experience of a lot of Europeans is they're less open to Americans in general. Like they kind of like their own experts. And so the fact that you're just wide open to anyone is so
Yeah, it's
inspiring.
probably because I already had a lot of contacts to my community in the US and I speak English. Actually, I was always listening only to English. Still now, I listen mainly to English things. And because I'm also an expat and I'm multilingual, but so it was everything always in English. And actually, after my German team was thriving so much and some of the French people were more like, oh, in France, it's not possible. I was like, wow, we need to do the same thing. So I was like, okay, I'm looking for a French business coach. And that was actually Caroline, who is now a diamond. She joined me later on, which I didn't know at the time because I was thinking I needed maybe a French coach. But before that, I mainly listened to English things, and it's been so inspiring for me. And of course, because my upline was in the US, when I hit silver, they said, oh, if you come to leadership, we will pay you the hotel, whatever. And so I came to my first leadership in Orlando, and it just blew my mind. And since then, I went to all the conventions and all leadership in US every time. Then we had our European events. So I really was thriving on the events, and I was going everywhere. And I was trying to take as many people as possible to all the events, the boot camps also. Dani, who is one of the top leaders in Europe, she's in our team, and I took her to this Live a Cause, and she was thriving and bringing people. And that's still one of my favorite things, to bring people to events. And I still think it's so important. And I'm always so inspired also seeing you and other top leaders always being there, very faithful, and not thinking, oh, after so many years, I know already about healing hands and come on. But sitting there in the first row, and I also here in Europe, we have Elena Cimpuescu from Romania. She, at every event, she sits in the first row and she's not getting up. She's sitting there. And I found it so inspiring because I see sometimes people like, oh, I went already to convention. Oh, I don't need to go. But I see all the top leaders, they're always there and they're listening and they go and they bring people. And so I always also have tried to sponsor tickets and bring people and pay for the hotel and do things which, of course, you can only do at a later point. But because I know the impact of the convention after, I mean, what happened to Madhavi at the convention, and we were sold immediately that this is so important to bring people. So I can only tell everybody, come to Orlando. I will be there. So say hello to me and bring all your team. It's life-changing to go to the events.
So true. So powerful. Well, Claudia, thank you so much for taking your time to come on and share your journey with us. What a gift. So fun. I love the fact that I get to share some of our dear friends with the world through this process of connecting and doing a Zoom call. So thank you so much for your time and for your light. It's a gift to the whole world.
Thanks for having me. I'm so honored because also, like, even I was telling at the convention last year, I was speaking in Europe and I was even mentioning you, that you were also one of my inspirations, and that now I can come on the call after all this time. It's a big honor for me. Thank you so much for all you do to the doTERRA world. It gives a lot of faith also to everybody.
Well, thank you so much. Sending you so many blessings, Claudia, and sending our love to each and every one of you. Thank you so much, and we'll see you all next week.